Hi, I'm Jeremy, and today I'm going to show you a really simple partnership card game by the name of Team Play. This game, it technically plays from 3 to 6 players, but I suspect that it would be best with either 4 or 6 players, just because of the nature of it. In a 4 or 6 player game, you're going to have a partner, whereas in a 3 or a 5 player game, you wouldn't have a partner, and the game would just not be nearly as interesting, I imagine. So for a 4 or 6 player game, this is terrific. I'm going to take you a minute to show you the really simple rules of the game, and then I'll come back and I will give you my thoughts on it. Alright, so here we see the setup of what might be a 4-player game of Team Play. Let's assume this is a dealer. They would deal 1 card to the person to their left, 2 to the next person, then every other player would get 3 players. And this is a 4-player game, and a 6-player game will work similarly. You'll notice that there's a deck of cards, and these cards will have numbers on them from 1 to 8 in these 2 suits, red and blue. 3 of those will be flipped up to be chosen by players, and then there's going to be a communal goal card that will be set in the center of the table. So any of the players could complete this goal. Also, any player will be able to complete the goal in front of them. You have the choice, after looking at your cards, to replace your goal with another card. So this player doesn't have any 2s or any 8s, which is what this card requires. So they might choose to take that and just discard it out. And then they would then get another card as their goal card, but they would be stuck with this other card. So the way that this game works is pretty simple. Starting with the player to the left of the dealer, players are going to take actions on their turn, and they're going to have the ability to draw 2 cards, either from the face down pile or from the cards that are available. And that's going to be a mandatory action on their turn, and they're going to have optional actions. And the optional actions are to pass up to 2 cards to their partner, who will sit across for them. So this player and this player would be partners. This player and this player would be partners. And the other optional action is that they could complete goal cards. So this player, for example, is trying to collect. The symbols on here mean 2 pairs of distinct numbers. So for example, a pair of both in red, and that would be the number of points that would be worth. So a pair of 2s and a pair of 4s, for example, would be fine, as long as both were red. And they can also see what their partner is trying to collect. So this partner is trying to collect. This just means a set of 3 even cards, but the color doesn't matter. So the same number, different colors are fine, all even. That line down the middle means even, whereas this line on here would mean odd. So this player would need 2 pairs of odd number cards. Both would have to be different, because here we have the circle, here we have the square. And this player over here is just collecting a 1, a 3, a 5, and a 7. Color is irrelevant. And the communal goal card here is simply a pair of cards. Again, the same number, color is irrelevant. That's only worth 1 point, however, because it's easy to accomplish. So, like I said, the player could draw 2 cards. They could complete goals by playing cards, and you have to discard the cards as you complete goals. You can't use them to complete multiple goals. Or they could pass the cards to their opponent, or to their partner rather, and they are not allowed to communicate with their partner about what cards they have. The only thing that you could ask your partner is what number of cards you have in your hand, because the first thing that you actually do each turn is check your hand to make sure that you don't have more than 6 cards. If you have more than 6 cards, before you take any actions, you have to discard down to 6. So this player here is trying to collect 2 pairs, so they might pick up this other 2. Then immediately 1 would flip up, and it's actually a 2 again, but they need to have 2 distinct pairs, so that is not useful to them. They see that so they could draw either of these cards, but they see that their partner is trying to collect 3 of a kind. That's an even number. So just on an off chance, they might draw this, and then choose to pass that to their partner as their turn. Play would proceed to this player, who's trying to collect 2 even numbers. Again, there's no even cards here, but they would probably look at their partner, who's trying to collect 1, 3, 5, 7. Neither of those are there either, so they would probably just draw here, and now they've actually luckily got one of their pairs, and they would probably draw again. They don't need this 1, 3, 5, 7. Their partner doesn't either. Their turn would end. Over here, they are trying to get even numbers, 3 even numbers, so they could probably take this 2, and then probably this 2 as well, in hopes of getting another 2 later, and so on. So this is going to go on until players are able to complete their turn their cards to complete a mission, once you complete a mission that is just kept face up next to you, and you get another mission. Again, as with the beginning of the game, if you don't like that mission card, you can choose to put that under the deck and just take another mission card instead. So, but then you'd be stuck with the second one. You can't go back and say you would rather have the first one. And this will just keep going around like this until players on the team have collectively completed 8 missions. At that point, every player, including the player who initiated the end of the game, will get 1 extra turn. And then players will tally up all the points on their completed mission cards, and whoever has the most points will be the winner. Alright, so that is team play, and this is a really terrific, nice little game that anybody could enjoy, I think. I think you're generally going to want to play it with 4 or 6 players. Like you said, the 3 and 5 player variants I haven't tried, I must admit, but I really don't think that there'd be much to them at all. You'd be really bound by the luck of the draw in trying to complete your missions before somebody else. I couldn't imagine that they're fantastic, but maybe they are. I just admit that I haven't played them because they don't seem to appeal to me. But as a 4 and a 6 player game, this is really good. There are a lot of similar partnership games, either classic card games or trick-taking games. Something like Teach You comes to mind, and a lot of these games require a little bit of a shorthand to develop between partners, where you passing them a card will tell you something about what their hand holds, and vice versa. And this is something much lighter than that. It's something that you could play with a family. It's something that you could play very casually, and there's something to be said for that, I think. The game really does reward, however, paying attention to what your partner is trying to accomplish, what cards they're drawing, and trying to feed them cards. Since you do get those free actions to pass them cards, you could grab cards that they may not have access to when it's their turn to draw and get them to your partner. And that's where a lot of the strategy works. Much like its name, team play, it really does reward cooperating with your partner and trying to look out for them, and hopefully they'll be doing the same for you. The game plays in about 30 minutes or so, maybe a little bit less than that, and it says on the box ages 8 and up. And I should note that the game is published by Schmidt. It's came out in Germany. I know it's an international version. There are English rules in the box, so that's not an issue, and you will probably be able to find this easily wherever you import board games. But yeah, the game, it says 8 and up, and there's no reason I think an 8-year-old would not be able to play this game. You're really just trying to accomplish these very simple iconographic missions on these cards. Anybody would be able to do that, I would think. So overall, I guess one more thing I would add is that it's interesting because it's not always the player who gets to 8 missions first who wins, because the missions are well distributed with points based on the difficulty of them. A team that's going after harder missions might beat the team that finishes faster, or finishes those 8 missions faster. And that's well balanced, and it makes that decision about whether to keep a mission or go for it, which is also going to be influenced by the cards that are in your hand, more interesting. So this is team play. It's a recommended game. It fills a certain niche, I think, and if you're going to be playing with 4 or 6 players, it's definitely one of the better card games of its sort to check out. So those are my thoughts on it, and thank you for watching.